In the quiet moments of life, between breaths, between decisions, between failures and triumphs, there lies a subtle yet powerful force that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. That force is personal initiative. It is not something granted or inherited, nor is it tied to talent, education, or circumstance. It is a choice, a spark, a quiet commitment to act, not once, not occasionally, but consistently, and with purpose. This book, Personal Initiative, invites us into that inner realm where change begins, not with the world, but with ourselves. The essence of personal initiative is not merely about being proactive, it is about awakening to the truth that we are responsible for how we respond to life. It's a deeply spiritual principle disguised in practical action. The book opens by challenging a common misconception, that life owes us something, that circumstances must be perfect before we move forward. Instead, it teaches us that the greatest shifts in our reality occur the moment we accept full ownership of our path, and take the first courageous step, often before anyone else believes in us, and sometimes even before we fully believe in ourselves. The first key message of the book is that personal initiative begins with inner permission. Real initiative is born when we stop waiting for approval, for clarity, for conditions to be ideal, and begin. The author paints the story of a young woman named Carla, who grew up in a difficult neighborhood, surrounded by limitation and scarcity. She had no connections, no financial safety net, and few role models. But what she did possess was a hunger to live a life of contribution and meaning. Instead of waiting for a better hand to be dealt, she started where she was. She read voraciously. She volunteered for roles no one else wanted. She worked double shifts to fund her night classes. And over time, her consistency carved a path where there had once been only a wall. Carla's story reminds us that initiative isn't about bravado or luck, it's about disciplined action, driven by vision and heart. The book goes further, illustrating that personal initiative often requires us to do more than we are paid for, to serve before we are recognized, and to give when there is no guarantee of return. This principle feels counterintuitive in a world that teaches us to protect, to withhold, to wait for reward. But the author reframes this by revealing a deeper truth. When we operate with the mindset of giving more than expected, we are not just investing in others, we are investing in our character. We are growing the inner muscle of integrity, resilience, and self-respect. One powerful chapter tells the story of Malik, a mid-level employee at a manufacturing company, who took it upon himself to streamline a chaotic inventory system that had plagued the business for years. No one asked him to do it. He received no overtime pay. But he saw a problem and believed in a better way. Over months, through countless late nights and trial and error, he implemented a system that saved the company thousands of dollars and hours of wasted effort. When his manager asked why he did it, Malik simply replied, "Because I knew it could be done better." That moment captured the soul of personal initiative, not to impress, not to outshine, but to elevate the standard because it matters to you. Another deep insight the book offers is the role of faith, not religious faith per se, but faith in possibility, faith in oneself, faith in unseen outcomes. Initiative without belief is like rowing without a destination. The author urges us to cultivate inner conviction even when the road ahead is foggy. So many abandon their efforts too soon, not because they failed, but because they lost faith. The book recounts the story of an immigrant named Samuel who arrived in a new country with broken English and a borrowed suitcase. He applied for over 100 jobs and was rejected repeatedly. But instead of giving in to despair, he took the initiative to teach himself coding through free online courses. Within 2 years, he had launched a successful freelance business and began mentoring others. Samuel's journey is a testament to the quiet power of believing when there is no evidence, yet. The book also speaks to the critical importance of persistence. Personal initiative is not a one-time act, it is a habit, a lifestyle, a way of being. This is where the emotional depth of the message truly lands. The author acknowledges how draining it can feel to keep showing up, to keep giving your best when results are slow or invisible. But it is in this space of invisible growth, where real transformation takes place. Just as a seed pushes through the dark soil long before it sees the light, we too must trust the process of our becoming. One of the most moving parts of the book is the story of Layla, a teacher in an underserved community. Year after year, she taught children who struggled with hunger, trauma, and disconnection. The system failed them in countless ways. Yet Layla showed up every day, not just to teach, but to love, to believe, to spark the light of possibility. She began a small after-school club focused on storytelling, where children could express themselves and feel heard. Over time, many of her students went on to pursue higher education, breaking cycles that had lasted generations. What began as a small, quiet act of initiative became a ripple of transformation. Lila's story reminds us that personal initiative is not always grand or public, it is often hidden in the sacred, thankless spaces of everyday life. The book also explores how initiative leads to influence. People who act, who build, who solve, who contribute, naturally rise to positions of trust. They are the ones others turn to, the ones who lead not because of their title, but because of their example. The author gently dismantles the myth that leadership is given. True leadership is earned, through responsibility, through consistency, through action. If you want to lead, the book says, start by serving more than anyone else. Take ownership of problems. Find solutions where others only see obstacles. There is also a beautiful section on emotional resilience. Taking initiative means we will often stand alone. We will be misunderstood, overlooked, even ridiculed. But if our actions are rooted in purpose, we can endure. The author shares the story of Andres, a young artist who refused to conform to popular trends. His work was raw, emotional, and unconventional. For years, he received little recognition. But he stayed true to his craft, and over time, his authenticity broke through. He didn't take initiative for applause, he did it for the joy of creating something real. And eventually, the world noticed. This teaches us that personal initiative requires the courage to be different, and the patience to wait for alignment. Perhaps the most soul-stirring lesson the book offers is this: we were not born to be passive observers of life. We were born to shape it. Every day we are given countless opportunities, small, silent moments where we can choose to rise above mediocrity. We can speak up when it's easier to stay silent. We can act when it's easier to procrastinate. We can contribute when it's tempting to withhold. These are not just actions, they are declarations of who we are becoming. In the final chapters, the author invites us to reflect on our legacy. When our time here is over, what will remain? Not our possessions, not our titles, but the impact of our choices, the lives we've touched, the standards we upheld even when no one was watching. Personal initiative, then, is not just about success, it's about significance. It's about becoming someone who inspires by example, someone who makes the world better simply because they chose to act. As a gentle conclusion, the book leaves us with a quiet challenge: wherever you are, with whatever you have, begin. Don't wait. Don't ask for permission. Don't let fear or doubt have the final say. Your life is a canvas, and every action you take is a brushstroke. Choose with intention, move with courage, act with love, for in the end, it is not what we hope to do, or plan to do, or talked about doing that defines us. It is what we did, with what we had, where we were, when it mattered most.